NCC. This chairman had the whole carnival going down the chain. Even tell him so too. Somebody say Kaiso, nah. Kaiser Markman. In Trinidad, it have a chairman, always taking a cut. The man in charge of the NCC, that man treating we rough. Oh yeah, 140 million for the carnival like he on a power trip. But I feel like he on shit. You with extempo, you have to go. Okay, I's a madman gypsy, like you ain't thinking. The NCC, it too corrupt. The country need a receipt to see where that money meet. Taxpayers need some proof to see if you're talking the truth. Come take up interest, you don't.
This is Douglar politics, yo. Douglar politics. Listen, Douglar politics, yeah. Douglar politics. This is Douglar politics, yeah. Douglar politics. This is Douglar politics. Douglar politics. This is Douglar politics, yo. Douglar politics.
Good evening and welcome to Douglar Politics. You know, I didn't see you all in a while, but I had to tell you all about this South African bowler called Kwena Mafaka. And that man, that young gentleman, the under-19 World Cup and West Indies did quite well. You know, of course, we didn't win, we didn't get into semis, but we had some good highlights, especially our skipper from Dominica. But this Kwena Mafaka is one of the calmest, most intelligent athletes that I've seen when he's performing. The humility, when he took great figures and beat people, he didn't gallery and show off. He treated all of his opponents with total respect, even though they were the vanquished. He didn't show off on them. He was just a class act, and his bowling, his pace, his swing, his intelligence, his variety, his fitness, bowling a spell of 10 overs and maintaining his speed. It was just a thing to watch. So look out for that South African. Oh no, well this ball, me I know that I now get this one. Hey Archie boy, that show them that again. Watch that ball, but here now. Oh Lord, this is like the ball of the century, boy. That thing turned a mile and a half. But that's the excitement of sport, and that's the brilliance of it across the globe. Sporting activities, Lewis Hamilton going to a big side, moving over to Ferrari. But here in Trinidad and Tobago, we stuck with PNM. Let me just tell you, PNM and sport. 6 million a year spent on unused community pools. 6 million a year for the last 4 to 5 years. Up to 30 million spent on pools that nobody is swimming, nobody ain't backstroking, nobody ain't do no aqua aerobics, no elderly ain't go and float, nobody ain't soak the bunion, nothing. But this Minister of Sport that looks very different from 5 years, 6 years ago to now, she spent $6 million a year. Taxpayers have been paying close to $6 million annually in salary, security fees, and utility bills on 4 non-operational community swimming pools managed by the Ministry of Sport and Community Development. The monthly operation cost for these non-functioning pools is almost $500,000, and they go to break down exactly what has been going on. On top of that, all the stadia dilapidated. We went football yesterday. They may only announcing you could only enter and exit through the western side, because I don't know what's going on the eastern side. When you're coming inside, you have people walking all around the stadium. You can't get into park. All the gates. Look at this. These are facilities in Trinidad and Tobago. Manny Ramjohn, we're going to send up a drone to hear what is going on in Manny Ramjohn, Larry Gomes Stadium, in Atto Bolden Stadium. The children in Intercolor to sit down in the hot sun. They couldn't sit down under the shade. They're going to do some work at Jean Pay with these people under Udicott. Mr. Skin Teeth Noel Garcia. That is PNM for y'all, and y'all think it's funny. These facilities need to be utilized for our children, for our coaches. Everything in sport, nothing working. But look, what all you want me to do? Debate Shamfa? That will be bullying. That's not fair. Shamfa don't even want the work. Shamfa not qualified for the work. Shamfa didn't dream for the work. Shamfa didn't prepare for the work. Shamfa don't even know or don't even have the class to respect our gold medalists from the 2008 Beijing Olympics, that we have been confirmed about 8 months now that we are the gold medalists. She can't even give them a cocktail party, shake their hand, tell them we love you. Don't worry that with a real government under the United National Congress, they would have been given $1 million. Thank you for your effort, for your sacrifice. A HDC house and treated with respect. They would have been sports ambassadors getting a stipend and so on. They can't even get a meeting. Now when they get a meeting with Shamfa before she go Jamaica to hug up Jamaica gold medalists, you know, she taking picture and thing with Jamaica gold medalists. But our very own 4x100 Olympic gold medalist from 2008 cannot get no picture with she, can't get nothing with she. They meet with she and give her a whole proposal. She take out thing and claim it's she own, handing out thing to gallery to take picture. These superficial, dotish photo opportunities is a waste of time. And that is why sport in Trinidad and Tobago sunk. But I can't blame Shamfa, because Shamfa really don't know. And Shamfa don't know that she don't know. And Shamfa just happy to look different and have a fancy handbag and take picture. So I can't really be vexed with she. But the bald-head miscreant called Keith Christopher Rowley, the pathological liar who come back home now from a holiday and trying to talk soft like he's some humble fool, come back here to say nothing about nothing while the country's in total chaos. I had to blame he, because he don't care about sport, he don't care about the country, he don't care about the children. Once he, Noel Garcia, Newman George, come in there and the boys controlling all the money and spending it where they want, how they want, and procuring without procurement, Rowley good. That is what all you vote for, and you all think it's funny. How I go argue with this poor lady here? Messing with our sporting venues. A letter Ray Samuel says in the newspaper, Skinner Park and Guacara Park for Southerners were what the Queen's Park Savannah and the Queen's Park Oval are for the Northerners. But the PNM is great, so that the heritage and history are swept away in one fell swoop of upgrade. The letter continues from Ray Samuel from Balmain. While the Atto Bolden Stadium remains closed, almost 6 years to track and field, is the Couva swimming pool open and operative? I think not. Hey, maybe we could get the Prime Minister to publicly buff his sports minister to spook some meaningful change. That is the change. He can't buff she. He worse than she. He select she. He don't care. When he had a previous minister of sport, he so didn't respect Darrell Smith that he take Darrell Smith's wife home by he. Let she walk down the steps, past 3 dogs, walk past a parrot, open the dungeon door, and wait on the red couch for his horny goat weed to take effect. That is all your Prime Minister. Look at Guaracara Park. 4-day matches. Caribbean Cup Championship, Caribbean Shield. All of that play day. Barbados versus Trinidad and Tobago for the Shield, for the Caribbean Cup of cricket. Play day. Look at it. Look at Guaracara Park now. Well, and then I had to sit down in the Hazy Crawford Stadium and watch my athletes dream of qualifying for the next round, the final round of World Cup qualifying in CONCACAF. Put in all the effort, do the best that they could, not understanding that they were woefully ill-prepared, that this from leadership come down through all the coaches, all the science, that nothing was put in place for them to legitimately have a chance to beat Canada. If we play Canada 10 more matches, we will lose all 10. And we may lose them more than 3-0. We were lucky that it was only 3-0. And I wouldn't play the whole thing, but I want you all to understand. Elections have consequences. What you're voting for this for sport. All of y'all love sport. All of you, whether you participate in it, whether you're elite, whether your children, your grandchildren, whether you just are a fan, whether you love the Trinidad and Tobago, you like to hear the anthem, you feel proud when we perform, all of y'all love sport. You tell me that you on an election day will really dip your finger for this to be in charge of sport? Run it, Archie.
Doubles and Coffee are now returned from the Hazy Crawford Stadium, where Trinidad and Tobago was given a schooling in sport science, in preparation, in preparing young people to dream and have a modicum of success and a chance at achieving their dreams. It was a football game, but Trinidad and Tobago, we all got a sporting lesson from Canada. We got beaten 3-0. And to the boys, to the players, to the coaches, to the team Trinidad and Tobago, thank you for your effort. You really did your best, you tried your best. But the fact of the matter is that from the outset, we had no chance, because as coaches, as administrators, as leaders, as sports people, as parents, we leave our children out like lambs to the slaughter because we don't prepare them. We let them dream of success, dream of qualification, dream of going to the World Cup, dream of getting to the next round, when truth and in fact, the lack of preparation, the lack of intelligence, the lack of understanding, the lack of commitment to sport by the leaders, by the coaches, by the teachers, by those who are to prepare the athletes is woeful. Canada is not the best team in the CONCACAF. They're probably the third best or fourth best behind USA, Mexico, Costa Rica, or Panama. You could interchange. But Canada started off at the beginning. And it's not just about football, every single sport. Why did we have no chance? Let's analyze. First and foremost, every Canadian player had on a GPS, which is a vest that gives you statistics as a coach so that you know what your athlete is doing. It gives you information on speed, how distance achieved, how far you ran, your heart rate, your recovery time, your walking. Some of them are even connected to Bluetooth to say how much time you actually spent on the ball. That's in a game. Trinidad and Tobago did not have any GPS vests on under their uniform. So our coaches were basically guessing. They're in the dark because it's not just about the game. If these vests are on the Canadians, that means in their training and their preparation, in their fitness, in their running, in their anaerobic threshold sets, in their speed sets, the coaches have scientific data on each and every player so that they can individualize their fitness, their regimen, their speed, their coordination.
Up the volume. Now it went on and I went on to analyze. And you know what's interesting about PNM people? They can't argue. They can't give a different position, give a different analysis or approach because they have none and they don't understand. All they could do is throw the same old lies fed to them by Rowley, by Small Pin, by those PNM miscreants who have now shattered our country, and they talk disgusting nastiness and bacchanal. Let me tell you something, and some of the PNM living in ignorance or pretending you don't know or not reading or not caring does not make your position correct. So some 2 PNM say, so when you was there, what you do? You do nothing. Oh yes, really? When Kamala Prasad Bisesa was in government, the United National Congress in sport, we not only built facilities and prepared 89 grounds across the country for utilization by children. We not only remove the fees for citizens to utilize their stadia for themselves, whether it's college league and so on. We increase the NPI vote from 10 million a year to 140 million a year. We increase funding across the board to give more access to associations so that they can also pay for coach certification and education. We kept the facilities maintained and upgraded. The tracks were certified for Olympic qualification, certified 1A. There were 4 gyms that were world-class Olympic elite cross-training gyms that were maintained, that are all dilapidated now. There were 75 sports development officers and a coaching caravan that will go out in every nook and cranny and share science, share knowledge. We formed relationships with UE Spec and sponsored all of their programs and their training for coaches across the board. We also increased funding to the Olympic Committee and sponsored and helped them fund their coach education and certification program across the board in every sport. We approved a cabinet note to have Chinese coaches there for diving, synchronized swimming, archery, table tennis, hockey, and 2 other sports. We ensured that children at primary school would have coaches, PE teachers that were on the pathway to being certified. The coach association was being formed. A semi-professional league in netball with indoor air-conditioned courts was being planned and was just awaiting the sanction from the PNM Netball Association, and that was left wanting, so that plan was put on hold. Across the board, we had every Easter and summer holidays, June, July, August, camps for over 21,000 children, including the differently able children. We increased funding for Special Olympics coaching, training, sociologists, psychologists, and so on. TT Pro League got funding increased from $2 million up to $18 million, including payments monthly to the clubs to have physios trained, PTI trained, technicians, trainers, and so on. Across the board, we were improving situations and a lot for our athletes. We had talent identification scouts out there. We were going to make students out in the USA and so on, sport ambassadors, to encourage people from the universities during the winter months to come to Trinidad and Tobago to make here the hub of sports science. I passed the anti-doping law in 2013 with unanimous support in both houses. The PNM has left the anti-doping legislation languishing. It is not there. We have no TADO, we have no drug testing, we have no education. We have men in gym fat shaming women and so on while taking steroids and playing like they are health and wellness. Trinidad and Tobago is in a complete mess because we are rudderless and leaderless in sport. So when I see my children go out there giving their heart and soul, and from the onset when I see warm up and standing up for the anthem, I know we have no chance, because the Canadian children were better prepared. They were more scientifically prepared. They were fitter. They were stronger. They had greater lean muscle mass. They were tested. They were a unit. They had more time together. They played more practice matches. Our children and sportsmen under the PNM have to go into a competition and play matches against big teams the same day as soon as they land, because they had no money, because they cut the NPI vote back from 140 million back down to 10 million. So all your PNM, sit down there and just try to lie. No matter how much you lie, it's not the truth. PNM, Rowley, Champa don't care about sport. They don't even know. They just put you there so they don't have to support you, the athletes, the parents, and so on. And that must stop. Elections are serious things. As I say that, and next one, I see Brian Lewis. Brian Lewis, this one here. This PNM who screened for Port of Spain South and lost to the bike man, the coal pot man, the strong man, Mr. Scotland, who's a big lawyer. They ain't telling about senior counsel. He can't get to act one day. This PNM man, hear what he have the audacity to say. TTFA, Trinidad and Tobago Football Association election, must be free and fair, says a PNM, you know. Within recent months and within increasing frequency in the past weeks, I was approached to consider agreeing to be on a slate. Yes, some PNM slate to put you on a slate to do what? You're a total failure at the Olympic Committee. You're a failure when you jump into the PNM without ever talking the truth about the UNC or Anil as minister or what occurred. And I didn't go through the list. I have more things to talk about. It's not whole night. I could go and big up myself and what I did as minister of sport. I didn't even talk about the Spirit of Sport Awards, which recognize all sorts of sporting achievements, whether massage therapist, media photographer, coaches, grassroots, team sport, individual sport, young athlete, junior athlete, promising at all. Let me stop here. But this one say, the elections in the TTFA must be free and fair. But Brian Lewis, what about national elections? Should they be free and fair? Should the head of the EBC be the niece of a former sitting PNM minister and the best friend of the current Minister of Education and deputy political leader of the PNM? Her best friend from St. Augustine Girls? Is that fair, Brian Lewis? Didn't hear you say anything. Is this fair? Is that a fair election? That this lady friend is in charge of it? You're talking about free and fair? Oh no, but it's a PNM, so that is fair. And that makes sense to you? When you have your partner Asim Basarat in cricket talking about elections, and they start off with 13 votes, and the race is to 25. How that could be fair? I never heard you. They went to you as Olympic Committee to arbitrate and so on. Look, Asim PNM Basarat. And when you talk that, here Basarat, is a good thing you put him up there. This PNM man, Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board zones now send pre-action protocol letter to stop action against a whistleblower. Well, Basarat is a real PNM because PNM just hung down and fight down and scare and vilify whistleblowers. That's the PNM way. So here, let me hear what this is now. So members of the Cricket Association, the cricket fraternity, sending a pre-action protocol letter to stop this man and his administration from hounding down a whistleblower. Remember, we saw reports of 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 missing and all kind of things, check signing, man signing, check by themselves for themselves and so on. The TNT Cricket Board was sent a pre-action protocol letter on behalf of the members of 3 zones, the Central, the Southwest and the North zones on Monday, ahead of tomorrow's controversial motion of no confidence against TTCB Treasurer Kishwa Chaitu do he work, and them calling a motion against Chaitu. You understand? This man is real PNM boy. That's why you find your home in Balize House. Send some cricket bat up there to finish off the Balize House that they hide in now. Should violent songs be banned? I saw President Irfan Ali of Guyana and so on saying and talking about our artists being more positive and so on. And we must understand this. I am one for free speech at all times. But we have to understand, music is very powerful. And I'm not talking as an old fogey who find lyrics bad and so on. Music is very powerful. And we have to analyze the impacts of music from a position of the individuals who are being influenced. So, for example, someone who has had 2 parents who understand what it means to nurture, to teach, to socialize from in the womb coming out, discipline, productivity, punctuality, understanding, discernment, right and wrong throughout, then they are able to accept into them all sorts of different types of information, and they could distill it, they could reject nonsense, they could understand, because those skills have been taught to them. They have been socialized in that way. If you have a little baby, children who go through growth and maturational stages between 0 and 10, for example, and they have not been able, or they have not experienced that knowledge, that love, that care, that discernment, that discipline, that understanding, that cognitive ability to discern from right and wrong and know where to go and where to focus. If there is a chasm in their parenting or in their socialization, then messages will reach them in a different way from children who are lucky to have two parents or family structure and teaching and sport and so on to guide them correctly. And therefore, if children are in a chasm and in a gap, and then all they're hearing is fire, gunshot, gold chain, big bling, big money, and shoot and kill, that will influence their actions. It is a fact. I tell you, sometime a few years ago, I like to go home when I finish and just watch some of the most doted shows, or they will be shocked. I just like to watch some shows that you could switch off your brain and you don't really have to focus when you come home tired. And a time way back about 6 or 10 years ago, I was watching something called MTV Cribs or something, where they show all these rich people, these artists, these rappers and big money men, and how they live in and how much pool they have, jacuzzi, the garage have 10 car, 2 Lamborghini, this bike, motorbike, all kind. You know, while I watching that show, just shut down and so on, I find myself finding like I need to work harder. I need more things because like I inadequate. I need to get out there and hustle some more because it's soaking what you're seeing. And then I have to snap myself out and say, but what stupidness you're talking? What the hell you need 20 cars for? You understand? And all. But it still had an influence. Now I had the ability to snap myself out it and realize that is stupidness and forget that. But what about children who do not have that socialization, have not been taught the skills to discern, to disseminate, to distill information? If all they're hearing is negativity, then that may not be the best thing. Now, I don't believe in banning. I think if you think that banning, you don't ban. But what you do is encourage and support the positive lyrics. Make sure that by singing positive, living positive, they could earn a living, they could make money. Just like if they're singing bad gun thing and they're making, no, make the positivity more lucrative. So I don't believe in ban, because sometimes ban does have the opposite, if you're trying to solve the problem. So I don't believe that the song should be banned, but leadership, the government should lead, encourage, incentivize, promote the men who sing in conscious lyrics. Sasha, some of them with Ja Melody, these positive Levi Myers and conscious men, push that, allow men to live nice, big up that, and let then the other youths will follow that. It is an important thing, because that gunman thing, all you're killing each other for what, boy? All you ain't get to hug up a nice girl, all you ain't get to see your children play a little football, all you ain't go to do nothing. You ain't go and share doubles by the main road, by the drain. You ain't get to do that. All you're dead because a man vexed you and this one vexed you and that one check your girl and woman. I did nonsense. But we in a mess and nobody cares, because the papers now asking if Rowley should personally get involved with Lavanti. But Rowley is not the Prime Minister. Shouldn't he get involved? Hasn't he been involved? Hasn't he been in charge for 8 years? When 3 young men were killed and on video, and the Lavanti youth men and so on were protesting, and Stuart Young and the PNM come to say UNC pay them because them fellas are bright enough to protest on their own. Them can't watch a video and see man hand up and man get killed, and then police picking up thing like corn on the ground and throwing man in the van like Guti. People couldn't tell that was wrong, that was a breach of the constitutional rights, according to Stuart, Smallpin, Young, and Rowley. Since then, he set up some East Development Committee and pay Skeet Scotland $10,000. What happened from that? Anything? Now they're asking the newspaper, trying to pretend, should Rowley get involved? But he, for the second time, for the third time, he's the Prime Minister and the whole country in a mess. Lavanti and Environs have never voted for anybody else except PNM. And all they're now asking if they should get involved. Rowley spent over $500 billion, and all the PNM constituencies lacking resources, schools not up to mark, no sporting development, unsafe, no lighting, no water, to water flowing through. And that is Rowley, and all you tell me about all you vote for that. We not making sense, Trinidad and Tobago. You know what all you voting for? Look, Udicott, No Teeth, Noel Garcia. We just spoke about some car park they build, this Clong Bill in South, that nobody ain't parking. The only thing parking in there is cockroach, rat, and too many coup at night. They had to offer incentives for people to park there during the... Remember that? This one who changed Skinner Park from a World Cup venue to a sweat match venue where it should go and roast pig and knock small goal for old men like me to walk around and chuck ball. This man going to build a next car park. Yes, that's what your money, but he must spend all. He building everything, car park, hospital, airport. And what going on with the Tobago airport? Hundreds of millions of dollars spent. The airport stop, it stick. What's going on? It stick like the space between your teeth, Noel Garcia. The Urban Development Corporation of Trinidad and Tobago Limited, Udicott, invites suitably qualified and experienced entities to submit proposals for the design and construction of a multi-story car park on Edward Street and St. Vincent Street. All the car park they have, nobody here using it. People parking anywhere else but all your car park. And them going and build a next car park because some P&M have to get a contract. And all you vote for that. Port of Spain dock workers, they down tools and demand 12%. I wish you all the best. But the labor movement has been decimated. Rowley shut down a refinery and put 5,364 workers, permanent workers, out of work. Another 6,000 daily paid workers out of work. Sideline communities, fence line communities, contract daily, all kind of people out of work. And the number one union in the country that brought us to independence, brought us to pride, when the East Indian National Association and the African National Congress got together in 1922 and united. We got domestic politics. When we united, when the races united, we got independence, we fought and we moved forward. The OWTU allowed Rowley to shut down the refinery. It down 4.5, going on 5 years. Men, women and children out of work, no money. Then Imba tell everybody 001, 001, 01001 over an 8-year period. And then P&M plants in unions go on and say, I sign, I want to sign. Let me lick Rowley's K-Packs. Okay, Rowley and Imbat, abuse us, do us what you want. And you know what the workers, some of them, they teach them to say? Well, it's better than nothing, eh? It's better than not. Imagine that. That is what you all vote for. So you say you have to vote on race. So you vote for Rowley because he look black. Never mind, it's a Oreo all you vote for. But he look black, but he suffer all you. Because the Indian lady was given 14%, get 2 back pay and so on. Settle 143 wage negotiation and treating labor with respect. But no, she an Indian lady and they say a yellow sari, all you want to rip it off and so on. Okay. They come and tell you 4%. 4% come like Coleman them watch all you and cuss all you in the most vile manner. And you know what? Some little labor union leaders who looking to be in Balize House and clink glass, they go on and sign on all your behalf. And now, the poor dock workers out by themselves. But police, Mr. Skin Teeth, police welfare, you went and signed it. And brigadier, wherever, who try to big up and try to lie for the PNM and say do 1,000 hours of patrol in 1 week, when a week don't even have 1,000 hours, remember that? And you sign 4% and suffer all of we army and so on with that little scrums that call me but disrespecting them with. Fire, did they sign? Prisons, did they sign? All who sign, all you serious? Let me tell you something. All of those in the hierarchy who sign that, all you have no shame to sell out your membership, to sell out the hard-working people in your union. All you're decimating union. All you're allowing Rowley and Imba to run roughshod over labor, carrying us, the people, back decades. In the UNC, you have labor union leaders and fighters and warriors for labor. You have Rudy Indar Singh, you have Munilal. Well, he's a Labour man too. You have Labour across the board. You have mayor who fight for the people, walk with the people. You have in all the corporations, Sangre Grande Corporation, people who believe in the man, the struggling person, the struggling worker, and will fight. And you have Kamala Persad-Bissessar, who have a track record. This is not old talk. She settled Hilton workers that did not have a wage negotiation since 2003. She settled that in 2012. They get back pay from 2003 to 2012, and then they negotiated on time and negotiated again in 2015. She gave back pay across the board. She gave a $1,000 grant, one-time payment across, tax-free to police, 14% across the board. And all year, let Rowley and Imbot, for whatever reason, come and abuse you, curse you, disrespect you, and then they say, well, it's better than nothing, really? That if that is the benchmark, it's better than nothing? I'm not even so sure. Because nothing better than that. Because if the country was on autopilot, things would have been going smoother. Because the refinery would have still be open. We would have still have more jobs. The decisions and the negotiation of Rowley and Small Plain would not have shut down 11 companies in Point Lisas. The steel plant would have still be running. More businesses would have remained open. We'd have had more foreign exchange if they had no government. So I ain't so sure that 4% better than nothing. When it comes to the PNM, nothing better than the PNM. No mail delivery in Debe. Union says 100 postmen needed. Again, disrespect of labor across the board. But you know the funny thing is, labor is quantity. Labor is human beings. So therefore, labor is power. Labor is votes. Imbot and Rowley and Small Plain are only there because they got votes. Nurses, teachers, votes. Fire officers, defense force, police, votes. If all of y'all vote for yourself, to respect yourself, to get your 14%, to get your negotiation done on time, to get treated properly, humanely, and respected by the Prime Minister. If all of y'all voted for that, Kamala would be the Prime Minister and there wouldn't be no 4% talk. And on top of that 4% talk, Imbot coming to tax your property tax. Inflation has been, since September 2015 to now, over 49% on food. On medicine is 65%. But Imbot and Rowley tell only 4%. But the SRC, the independent SRC, come to say, give Rowley a 40% increase. Give him an extra 29,000. For what? Playing golf? For cussing we? For shouting? For being the worst prime minister in history? For overseeing the greatest crime scourge in the history of the Caribbean? For overseeing the most murders by children, by bullets across the board? Give him a 29,000 extra per month for being a total flipping failure? Yes, the SRC just did that without any influence whatsoever. You know, Rowley don't influence them. But change coming. And you, labor, everybody, every worker out there, look to your left, look at your children sitting down doing homework. Look to the right, look at your fridge. Know how hard it is for you to keep that fridge full with food for your children because of the lack of agricultural policy of the PNM, the lack of vision, the lack of foreign exchange, the lack of diversifying the economy, the lack of creating revenue streams. That falls on the chest of bald-head, pathological lying Rowley. 4% is Rowley. When you now look at your finger, labor unions, that is at least 120,000 votes. Kamala only need 2,600 votes in 2 seats to be Prime Minister. And labor unions have over 150,000 votes. How you could vote for pain, how you could vote for disrespect, how you could vote for Rowley to tell you your work only valued 4%, but your money The inflation eat away your money 30%, but he give you 4%. Well, he 26% short, just like him, but short. But let me tell you something. Change coming. Watch Dominica. Remember I went to Dominica and I went to talk on behalf of the Electoral Reform Committee, and place was ramp up, place was passionate. They were getting together, nurses getting together with teachers, getting together with opposition forces, getting together with other civil society groups. Actually show them what going on this week. Just go on here in Dominica.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some heavyweights coming in just a moment, but I want to just give you some precise figures. Every minister of government, I told you earlier on that Mr. Sherritt took 50% increase for himself. Remember that, right? Well, he gave
Dominica, I tell you, I'm proud of the people of Dominica. Dominica, I know 1.4 million people like we, you know. It's a small island, small population. They have a population about 61,000, but on the voter roll has 75,000 votes because the star boy of stupidity over there, Skerritt, who come in weak country to tell me about Rowley's a nice guy, and Rowley's nicer than this, and Rowley is great, and the opposition only protesting about the Brent Thomas kidnapping because we just opposing for opposing's sake. That dotish clown called Skerritt, the star boy of stupidity. Look at people rallying against the star boy of stupidity. We have a star boy of lying, a star boy of dotishness, a star boy of greed, a star boy of pathology, a star boy of hate, a star boy of phobia, a star boy of oppression, Keith Christopher Rowley. And there's the kind of crowds. Now UNC also getting crowds, but we want to get bigger. Labour join because 4% is disrespect. Show them the UNC crowds too, coming to get plans to keep you safe all across Trinidad and Tobago, whether in the south, central, up in the east. Look at citizens coming out. Look, even some Labour members there. Look at the people. Look at the races. Look at the religions. So people power. Elections have consequences. You have no time for who want work, who want to lead, who want to cry like a mama pool. The country is too important for all your petty stupidness. And to all Labour, it's very simple. 4% PNM, Imbot, Rowley, disrespectful. Vote them out. Vote them out. Gypsy. I see my boy Madman sing a beautiful Kai. So Gypsy, I know you joined the PNM, but you used to be, your mother brought you up well, Gypsy. So Gypsy, you being in charge of the NCC, you funding all competitions and paying all the judges and so on, you in charge. You are trying to say that because you could sing, you could enter, and it's not a crime. Well, Gypsy, that's not the benchmark. A conflict of interest does not make a crime. It don't have to reach the level of being criminal conduct. That's not how you judge a conflict of interest. It's just if it's wrong. If reasonable people would find it's unfair, that if you are paying the money and the checks, that maybe the standard would be similar apparent bias, that judges may have an inkling to treat you differently from somebody else who's not paying them. Can't you understand that, Gypsy? That don't make sense to you? I don't want to go no further. That's a conflict of interest, and therefore you want to be in charge of NCC, fair enough, but you have to choose. So you choose to be in charge of NCC. That means you cannot enter the competition, Gypsy, that's all. And then on top of that, you sing a set of nonsense, but that's an aside. It's similar. Faris Al-Rawi chose to be in politics, chose to go up for a seat, chose to swear in as the Attorney General. Therefore, he should have given up his right to be a landlord and to be to rent a building to the government of which he's a part. Not come out and sip coffee while his friend and them give him a 23 million in 3 years by 3. Up to 69 million now, 70 million plus 38 million to outfit his building, 108 million. You all have just lost the plot. When I chose to get into the politics active in 2010 and then swearing as the Minister of Sport, I knew that my family dream from since we were small. And when we formed our own swimming club in 1985, Piranha Aquatics, to build a home for children to swim, for national champions to be made, Olympic champions, because we were always swimming all over the place, whether it's Jumbo Gym in McEnroe Street, or Blue Dolphins pool, or down in the Shagaramas in the 25-yard pool built by the Yankees. We always moving around, hopping around, and don't have nowhere to train. Queen's Park Hotel, where TGI Friday was a pool. We used to train there, 20-yard 3-lane pool. But when I decided to swear in to be a minister in a government, I know that the taxpayers' money cannot be used in any form or fashion to build the pool. Even though the pool not for me, I big and fat, I don't swim. It's for children, but it's just a conflict of interest. So you have to make a choice. So I chose to be a minister to go and serve my country. So therefore I could not simultaneously benefit from the taxpayers' money to build my dream pool for the children. So that's why the pool was never built. Because that involved my family land and my family club. But not PNM. PNM come, swearing to be Attorney General and sit down in a cabinet and let the cabinet approve and sign rental for himself. And you all say that's okay. And then we move on to the Integrity Commissioner. The chairman, I waited, I put out something. You're answering, you're ignoring. Mr. What your name again? Hayden Gittins. We ask you simple questions. And you confirm that yes, you've been the neighbor of Newman George and Bridget Anisette George, two high-ranking PNM, a speaker of the House and a man on 7 board, spending billions of dollars per year of taxpayers' money. That your neighbor. That alone disqualifies you, Mr. Hayden Gittins. You don't understand. Go and read the definition of apparent bias, which is the basis of conflict of interest. And therefore, it's the Integrity Commission. You're supposed to uphold the highest levels and highest order of integrity. So any apparent bias, it does not mean you're a bad man. It don't mean you're a PNM. It don't even mean you like your neighbor. Doesn't mean that. It just means that you've had a relationship with people who you will have to oversee in an adversarial position in politics. And therefore, if a reasonable person feels that you may have an affinity for your neighbors, then that is sufficient to disqualify you from holding the position. Mr. Hayden Gittins, I don't know if you understand. You could be the best man in the world. You could be the most. That's irrelevant. You worked with the president, brother, for years in the same institution. A reasonable person will say that that's why you got the position, because you have some sort of relationship with the president who appointed you. That's enough to disqualify you from holding the position. You're sitting down quiet and fighting there. It's not looking good. You're bringing the Integrity Commission into disrepute. The institution must be bigger than you. That institution must be held to the highest order so that when they make decisions, the country accepts it without question. The country will not accept any decision you make, because you also were the CEO of the SEC, and Colm Imbot had the power to veto you, and he did not. And in Trinidad and Tobago, everybody know Colm Imbot. If he didn't know that he could control you, or that you had a liking or belief or similar beliefs as he does, he would have vetoed you. That's what he does. His appointments across the board. Look who he give work in LLCB. Look at the central bank governor who he appoint. Look, he fighting to appoint TTRA because Imbert wants to control everything. Look, he appoint his friend as NIB chairman. First on the board, then chairman after he moved that woman from the bank, that Helen Drayton. Then he put his friend in charge of the TTMF and the Home Mortgage Bank. That's called Imbert. He put you and left you in the SEC. That's enough for a reasonable person to say, Mr. Gittins, that you have some sort of relationship, closeness, affinity, care, or liking for the PNM. That's the Minister of Finance who you have to oversee. It's more important for you to be independent and very far apart from the government. Opposition can't spend on no money, so we're going to do? Investigate the opposition. We can't even buy a pen. It's a Westminster system. So Mr. Hayden Gittins, I was waiting to hear you respond. So you can't just say that everything Wade Mark say, everything Kamala say is true. Them is my neighbor. Bridget and he said George and Newman George. 20 years. I work with Kangaloo brother, yes, in the same bank. Different department, but same bank. And yes, I was SEC CEO and called me, but approved me, he didn't veto me. You can't say yes to that and hold the work and stay in the position. The apparent bias benchmark has been broached. But I don't expect you. You see now, any reasonable person will say, boy, yeah, let me come out of that. Let me resign that. That is not for me. But you know what? You won't. You want to know why? You want to know why you won't? You could fight and stay there? Exactly. You see, you got my point, Mr. Hayden Gittins. But bless, no? Bless. All right? Everything in this country is a joke. US-style ladders unsuitable. Fire service uses British standard equipment. After $1 million on wooden ladder, after Fitzgerald Hines do all kind of photo up and stand up, stay awake to climb the wooden ladder that bend like a dung in Rowley couch. After he passed, the tree dog, the parrot, and opened the dungeon door. 1 million ladders under probe for the Integrity Commission. Yes, that's all very nice. Integrity Commission, what about Rowley probe? What about Rowley not filling out his Form B? What about Rowley's claim and his Form A that the value of his Innisgate property and the price paid were the same when that was not true? The price paid was 1.2 million when the value was 1.68. Therefore, he lied on a form and signed it. What's the charge for that? And the ballhead one, Camille Robinson Regis says she wanted to charge people when they was giving out hamper for COVID or something, and they signed a false, or they signed for 2 and so on. They wanted to charge them because they were, the people who were hungry were fraudulent. What about Rowley signing an integrity form fraught with lies? Just like his Attorney General Lima perjuring himself in a court of foreign jurisdiction, signing an affidavit fraught with lies. What about that? NIQUAN stops legal proceedings against state. Really? NIQUAN, PNM, Gill, PNM, Allison due diligence, PNM, Rowley, PNM, Franklin Cannon Small Pin give PNM gas, give assets of the state to NIQUAN for 10 million US and 25 million in preference shares that worth nothing. Give ministers share of gas to NIQUAN, and then NIQUAN blow up, burn up, and do nothing, can't pay the bills. Republic Bank, which Allison due diligence was on the board, approved 120 million US loan to NIQUAN, and on what basis, Lord alone knows. And now that is a bad debt, and Republic Bank can't get back that money. And NIQUAN was now trying to sue the government because the government was saying, hey, you ain't paying me for the gas, you ain't making no money, you ain't producing nothing, so we need to use this gas somewhere else. Now, all of a sudden, NIQUAN PNM is withdrawing a lawsuit against the PNM government. All you find that songing right? The company filed notice to discontinue matters against the state last month, but no reasons were given. The notice of discontinuance is at variance with correspondence shared to the company's financiers that it would seek all remedies from the state. Chief Visionary Officer Ainsley Gill, visionary. A man take something, get all your assets, give him favor after favor by PNM and still flop and fail. Nearly blow up the whole of the Southwest day. Can't pay his workers, can't pay his bills, can't pay the loans, owing about 312 million US, and the papers, Guardian calling he, because he's a PNM, a visionary. You can't make this up, you know. The visionary Ainsley Gill explained that the company has been engaged in mediation with the upstream downstream operations company. He said they continue the status quo, including preservation of the plant in silent mode. You know what silent mode means? It can't produce nothing. That is what silent mode is. To this end, Gill said the employees would be furloughed until April 30th, so no money for all year again. Hundreds of millions are owed to lenders, including some of the country's top banks. Republic Bank, I still waiting for you to explain. How was that loan approved? On what asset base? What was the risk involved? Who signed off on that loan? And all you just send Allison, due diligence, Lewis, seller on early retirement, like Obiaman, Jervis, Warner, and you all find that's good enough? Shareholders of Republic Bank, all you serious? In terms of our exposure to Nikwan, our principal debt that we have is approximately 65 million. This is JMMB. They have 65 million. Just principal, the exposure itself, if you look at the total exposure, it is about 175 to 200 million. Poor JMMB. But JMMB, same question for you. How this get approved? How people can't get 25 cents to rub together from all your banks? Men to open a bank account after I tell you about where the father was, the mother was, where the mother meet the father, where they was conceived, how much electricity they pay, what's a bill, this 3 form of ID, come down the line to get a bank account. To get a loan, well boy, man can't get that. But they only just approve 175, 200 million in debt, in loan to a plant that they make nothing. How? How Republic Bank? How JMMB? And is the answer PNM? Is that the answer? I know the strategy is being pursued is one of operation, which it has proven the plant has produced. So we are very confident in terms of the outcome and looking forward to its conclusion. That JMMB man, you know, he's still saying, hey, after they can't get it up and running 3 years now. It blew up twice. A man did burn up. The wax build up. They're keeping whistleblowers. They're threatening whistleblowers across the board. No money coming. Owing 320 million US. And the JMMB man who stand to lose about 200 million. Hey, well, yes, we know that these fellas, they say they're going to operate, they're going to sell something, you know. And once they operate, we go get money. You have no money to get by. And now you are the answer to your shareholders, JMMB, Republic Bank, because this is what PNM does. Because you break rules for PNM. You don't give things on merit for PNM. You do PNM because PNM tell you what to do, and the whole society rotten. Marchers call for justice 2 years later. Still waiting for justice. Still waiting for Rowley to even care. And you all allowing Rowley, the country allowing Rowley to say, oh, I can't get involved. The board will decide. The board that I appointed in the company that I created when I shut down Petrotrin and put all oil out of work. And I put my best friend Newman George there in charge of the board. And Newman George hire who the hell he want. I set up PNM Piper, Mushtaq, whoever. And it's PNM to PNM to PNM. And they went down there and PNM took decisions to leave men in a pipe to dead 39 hours. And Rowley tell you all, well, I won't get involved. It is up to the board, and we as a country accept that and still call that man Prime Minister and say about respect the office. Fire burn all here. Rowley has no respect for nobody. Rowley is a obia man, a wicked, heartless Jumbie, and I don't respect Jumbie. Not dire. Dr. Terence Farrell, the foreign exchange situation is not a crisis, because if the government needs to get US, they can access it through these different sources. Yeah, but the people can't get US. Dr. Terence Farrell, you selfish fool. You don't care about people. You've spent too much time sucking Balizé juice. People are suffering. People's businesses are shutting down. People cannot get money to their children outside who are studying or on athletic scholarships. Businesses, small businesses are failing. Inflationary pressures are shooting through the roof because people are buying US on the black market. You can't even go for a holiday and get any US, and you are saying that's not a crisis? Well, sir, what about our US reserves for the first time in 17 years dipping under 6 billion US? That's not a crisis. 5.8 billion US. When Kamala left it in 2015, it was 12.26 billion US in foreign reserves. 14 and a half months of import cover. So we're not in a crisis, Mr. PNM, Dr. Terence Farrell. How the Economic Development Board went, you and Rowley, all your ideas and your brilliance, your intelligence, how many ideas he implemented since 2016 that you told him? Dr. Terence PNM Farrell? That is why I have no respect for people like you all, boy. Because when you're intelligent, when you're bright like you, when your mother and father taught you well, and you're disciplined, and you study hard, and you get very qualified, but you use your intelligence to oppress and suffer people, to leave oppressors on top of them, to ensure that the poor people, those most in need, don't get their share of the pie, you're a wicked man. To use your intelligence to oppress others is a sin. It's disgusting. It's wicked. So me, I care how bright you might feel you are. Your heart ain't good, and therefore you're useless, Dr. Terence Farrell. As we say that, hey, Obia man, you're gone, boy. Jervis Warner, what happened? Where the money gone? How you get all them shares? It's true, you have 130 million shares in your own massive company. How many shares Rowley have? Where you got all that money to buy all them shares? Because if Massey paying you a certain salary and perks and so on, it would not allow you to get 130 million of raw cash to buy up shares and so on. How much you spend on Obia? Why they send you home early? What's going on? But you see, the bourgeois elites in this country, they could do anything. They could make the worst decisions, but they would be protected and the information won't be forthcoming. He's so young, they said he on early retirement. But when he watched me the other day, I didn't know whether he watching me or he watching Miguel. Because yeah, he looking so and the next one looking so. And Jervis Warner, as we talking about that, who is Alex Mute? Christian Mute, who is Alex Mute? Me, I know this Alex Mute. Is that your son? Is that your family? Alex Mute. And I want you to understand, to all of you people out there who feel that when you accumulate wealth, when you are rich and you have a lot of money and you never need, you have generational money, it doesn't buy character, it doesn't buy intelligence, it won't make you a good human being. You won't be loved. Nobody will care about you. You will be unhappy. Look at the best example. Look at this idiot. Let's read what this idiot Alex Mute had to write on a public post, okay? Now he's very wealthy and rich, good for him. Alex Mute, you have one of them watch, like what Rowley was wearing, the $500 and something $1,000 watch, that Rowley says not that, is something else. Do your whole family does wear them kind of watch? Mr. KFC? Who use Alex Mute? Christian Mute, that, is this your child? Because you see, no amount of money, let me tell you something. I would pay, if what is your worth, Christian Mute? 6 billion? I telling you, no joke, Anil not joking. I would pay $6 billion not to have a son such a jackass. No joke. If you tell me, give me my son, for example, who's a good young man, intelligent, treat his mother good, his family good, disciplined, don't cuss his father, listen, study, do his law, take care of his grandfathers. If grandfather sick, fly down, take them to the hospital, handle it, courteous, nice fella, good looking fella, that's my son. If you tell me I could have $6 billion, but I have to have this jackass as a son, all you keep all your money here. So you all must think before you all get confused and give people with money respect. Let's read this fool, this Alex Mute, whoever he is. I don't know who the hell he is, but he make himself famous by just being a jackass. At least KFC invests in infrastructure. The Doubles man sets up a $200 MDF box with ice cream buckets of china under a tent next to a dirty drain and saves their money for a bottle of puncheon or who knows what. How you have millionaire doubles man and not a single one has actually rented a structure or reinvented their profits to upgrading their business. Same with Roti. Spanish come and start food business and have brand new building, and Roti sellers haven't painted their building in 30 years selling food out a rat hole. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Alex Mute. Over my lifetime, the most time I spend in a toilet after eating is after eating KFC. You understand? No joke. For whatever reason, Mr. Alex Mute. And let me tell you something. For you, is it you have something, is it you're racist against Indian? Is that it? What you have a problem with doubles and roti? Is it that you forgot corn soup and so on? Or is it specifically you're targeting Indian? What is your problem? Do you know that doubles, that food, indigenous food that Trinidad and Tobago created here, that people of all ilks, all walks of life, entertainers, journalists, prime ministers, presidents, politicians, religious, scribes, tourists, sportsmen, they all come to Trinidad and Tobago, and you know what they want? They want to eat a doubles. Name one tourist who come to Trinidad and say, hey, I want to go KFC, man. I want to go to that KFC. KFC is so great. Something is wrong with you. Doubles is who we are. That's our country. It's our culture. It's in us. It's taste, it's beauty, it's creativity. Doubles vendors, generational, passing on the trade. Something that is uniquely Trinbagonian. You come to uplift your flipping franchise KFC, your tutu chicken. You are an idiot. Christian Mute, is that your son? I want to know who is this. But you see me? I go stop because if I continue, I might cuss. But I just want you all to know that money cannot buy class. Money cannot buy intelligence. Money cannot build character. This fella is a rich jackass. But there's a lady who dealt with him. Let her deal because I might get too angry with this kind of disgusting human being. Run it.
Alex Muti, you have vexed me this morning and I must respond. Maybe you can be forgiven on the basis of youth and experience and privilege, but it stops there and one cannot leave what you have said unanswered. Firstly, on the issue of infrastructure. KFC's infrastructure is nothing of significance. A small building or something that's rented for someone that constitutes a kitchen, a dining room, and a bathroom is not any kind of infrastructure to be lorded over. If you were building roads or bridges or factories and producing value, then yes, you could make that boost. Secondly, on the issue of sanitation, you have ridiculed the doubles vendor and the roti shops, saying that their level of sanitation leaves a lot to be desired. Well, let me tell you, so too does your KFC outlets. Maybe you should visit them more often, because your bathrooms are generally in a very nasty state. They rarely have toilet paper. Your dining rooms makes one want to sanitize oneself and really generally not sit down and dine in it. Your staff are mostly disleveled and they look very overworked because apparently you have cut down significantly on the number of persons that you employ. Let's talk about the issue of foreign exchange now. KFC, by any measure, is a net user of foreign exchange. You do not earn any foreign exchange, but you use a lot of it. Most of what you use to produce is imported, maybe with the exception of chicken. And then I am sure that your franchise fees is paid off of sales, not profits, so that you are draining our scarce foreign exchange. Because look at the number of KFC outlets that we have, and we have the highest per capita consumption of KFC. But for that, I blame the naive consumers of Trinidad and Tobago. The doubles and the roti vendor, I will hazard an educated guess. Their value added in terms of local value added is about 85%, because except for the flour and the chana and maybe very minor inputs, they use a lot of local content. The condiments, for example, mango chutney, tamarind chutney, pepper sauces, all of these things they use local input in to produce, and cucumbers also, so that they are adding value, much more value than your KFC model is doing. Let us talk about the issue of human capital development. The KFC model is doing very little to add value to our human capital. You hire at the very base level, and from the service that has been on offer from KFC, especially post-COVID, there is evidently very little in terms of training that is being done. On the other hand, the employees of the doubles and the roti vendors, they learn a skill. In fact, they learn a skill that has allowed many of them to leave employment and become entrepreneurs themselves and start their own doubles and roti enterprises. So it has, in fact, and it continues to spawn entrepreneurship, spawn business development and employment creation. Not so the KFC model. So Mr. Alex Muti, actually, let me be very specific. The next time you decide to open your mouth, maybe take a moment and think through what you want to say, and make sure that what you want to say can add value and not diminish things that are by any stretch of the imagination not deserving of being diminished. Think next time before you speak.
Mr. Richman, Alex Muti, if you wanted to build the country and so on, why you didn't take your father money or your money, a lot of it, since you have the favor of Rowley and the PNM? Because a lot of these doubles vendors aren't as lucky as you and your family to be in charge of the roadmap to recovery committee and to have the PNM build a flyover past Valsane and drop you in a bucket of chicken. Not everybody is so lucky to have the PNM at the beck and call, and the Prime Minister to go up in the house and fellas to be smoking cigar and calling him, this is my end here, this is my end. You see, doubles vendors have to just make it by themselves, roti shop owners and so on. Why you didn't take some of your money and come up with a franchise local concept of coffee and doubles inside with nice air condition? Why you didn't do that with drive-through and fancy thing? Oh, you don't want to do that because it's so easy just to get US. You could get all the US to pay your franchise fees, but other people can't get US to buy their goods for their businesses, and they're shutting down. So, Mr. Man, whoever you are, Alex Muti, no amount of money could buy you a brain. You will remain dotish from now to the day you dead, regardless of what kind of expensive coffin they bury your done self in. So understand that. And to my people out there, in Europe, the government wanted to give pressure to farmers. The farmers drove all the tractors, bulldozer, backhoe, and all of the manure trucks into the parliament. And when the police came with riot gear, they opened up the manure and wet down the police with manure. They protested. They showed the government that they're not taking that. They show people in the States when Starbucks was promoting a kind of racist ideology. The citizens, the consumers showed them the power of consumers. This Alex Mute has attacked doubles and roti, has attacked our very essence. That is part and parcel of who we are as Trinbagonian citizens. This Alex Mute has waged war on us as a people, has desecrated our ancestors and those who took care of us and those who feed us, has disrespected our people and us as a unit, as a patriotic nation, as people who love this country. What shall we do, people? What shall we do to a rich, sick, wicked, nasty, narcissist who's disrespectful, dunce, dotish? What will we do with our money? Will we continue to take our money and go and buy from his establishment? Or will we finally have the testicular fortitude to say, hey, my money going to buy doubles by the sidewalk, in the $200 box, in the bucket of chana. My money going and buy a goat roti or boneless chicken or a duck roti to support my people, because I am one with them. And if you are one with a bucket of grease, you stay there. Do we have it in us to do that? Trinidad and Tobago? Well, I could tell you, but it's easy for me, because I don't like KFC already, because it has put me in the toilet quite often, and them is PNM, and Christian Mute is Rowley's friend, and Christian Mute does wear that kind of watch that all you thought Rowley had on. So me, it's easy for me, because I know what they are. I know that they use COVID to get monopoly in pharmaceuticals, and they're suffering people for medicine. I know those things because I read and I check. So it's easy for me to boycott. And my children will follow what I say and boycott KFC. Me ain't buying that at all. But it can't be me alone. That wouldn't do nothing. What about you all? What say you all? What say all of you who love doubles? What say all of you who love roti? Now notice I ain't say corn soup and pela. One thing me ain't know, if he had typed longer, if he would have attacked that too. But that's for all you to decide. But I'm talking to all the citizens who love doubles and love roti and love who we are, because we are not of that. Alex Mute is not of us. That is not who we are, how we live and how we interact. That is not Trinidad and Tobago, Alex Mute. So for me is spending 1 red cent in no flipping KFC again. Even if my little daughter, no. Go take a Royal Castle. Go take a Church's chicken. Go take a Chicken King. Who else? Yes, she did. But I didn't want to, them things happen. But me ain't like to make no little thing. But this is a serious thing. Alex Mute, you sat down and thought and typed that. You looked at it and then you put share. When it say next, you press post and you post that. You so dotish boy, Alex Mute, boy. I want to thank the Lord Almighty, the Supreme Being, for blessing me with 3 children that have great character. They're loving, intelligent, good people, and they treat others with love and respect. Thank you very much. Because no amount of flipping money could ever compensate for a child that is so useless. Woman who fell into pothole to sue. Good. I hope she has a very good lawyer. I'm glad she didn't get her leg cut off or so on. But right there in Crystal Stream where I eat my doubles, they have a rusty cover. The hole is now this big. They have a school 60 meters away. Children walk on that pavement every morning going to school. But the PNM imbot, The next one, the Nosebreaker, Rowley, the Diego Martin, P&M Corporation, they ain't doing nothing. The thing rusting and the hole getting bigger for 4 years now. They ain't changing it. Right there opposite Bobby's bar, outside there. If that lady foot had fallen, that rusty, sharp metal thing, her foot would have been sliced open. Her blood would have been poisoned. No amount of tetanus could have saved that leg. And they have children whose foot could fit down in that 3 or 4 holes. But Diego Martin Corporation, P&M, all they don't care. Because all they, no matter how bad you perform, ain't you go win there? Because the people go vote for P&M, ain't? All right. Sinister plot behind loss of protection for a judge. Why is a judge having to ask for protection? When Stuart Smallpin Young, who's the Minister of Energy, have special branch driving him and moving around with him, why is that? How Stuart Smallpin Young have that? It's supposed to be the Prime Minister, the Attorney General, and the Minister of National Security only. And all your other cabinet ministers and the PNM, especially all your black benchers. And then all your red men benchers like Randall Mitchell. How come you don't have special branch moving with you? And you just move all over in all kind of stink and dirty and thing, and you ain't hand on? Why, Randall Mitchell? Stuart Smallpin life is more valuable than yours? Paula Gopi Schoon? Hansel Bacchus? Rohan Sinadan, where your special branch? Oh, only the special branch of the Smallpin. All you sick, yes? Hey, all you, how can you go through life having no testicular fortitude, just being spineless? Why would, if I like all I wouldn't even want to breathe and wake up in the morning. All you're so spineless. And this Keith Scotland, so your life not as important as Stuart Smallpin Young. How does the Minister of Energy have special branch protecting he? And by the way, what about the gun he donated? How he got that? Where that reach? Why silence on the indemnity proceeding? Do you all know? Right now, Vincent Nelson, the man who was negotiating with Faris Al-Rawi and Keith Christopher Rowley, an indemnity that was signed by former Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi to give him all sorts of immunity from prosecution after they pay him $20 million to $25 million to give evidence, false evidence against UNC members. They signed and said the government of Trinidad and Tobago will keep secret information from other law enforcement agencies internationally and so on. They signed an illegal indemnity with a so-called witness in a criminal matter. Do you know the man, Vincent Nelson, the man who had changed his 34-page opinion that was paid for into a 1 paragraph when PNM went to say take Malcolm Jones out of court, and £100 million just went poof in the PNM dust, and Smallpin was Malcolm Jones' lawyer. That same Vincent Nelson suing the PNM, which is, but you all will have to pay when they lost, suing the PNM for breach of agreement for $100 million. But it's secret. It's going on since January 25th. We can't hear a statement. We can't hear nothing. We can't hear what Vincent Nelson say. We can't read nothing. We can't read no submissions. We can't see nothing. And hear what Lymore say. Attorney General Lymore say, well, it's not us. We, the government, moved a motion to tell the judge, make it public. And the judge said, no, it has to be secret. Does that augur well for separation of powers? Would the judge explain to us, the people, the dunces out there, why is this secret? Senior counsel told the PNM that signing an indemnity was legal. It was legitimate. They were not interfering and not breaching Section 70 of the Constitution and interfering with the DPP authority. It's 2 senior counsel, you know. And now the defense is, hey, that was illegal, boy. We was just mamagaing you. That indemnity not legal. We was acting in bad faith. That's their defense now. But they're keeping that a secret because their defense alone means that they admit that they are dishonest liars. But why is it secret? And which judge? Why judge? Why are you saying, since Lima say no, we want it. We want the whole country to hear how dotish we are, how wicked we are, how malicious we are, how illegal we operated, how much we paid Vincent Nelson, who sat on a plane and talked to him, who sell out, who break. We want the whole country to know how corrupt the PNM is. But the judge say, nah. Every institution in this country has been warped and poisoned with Balizé juice. And while they do that, cops in the dark, police had to fight crime, you know. Murderers running all over the place with AR-15, submachine guns and so on. Cops in the dark. Officers attached to the San Fernando police station were left in the dark on Wednesday after a recurring electrical problem. Recurring, you know. What recurring mean? It happen all the time. Gang violence, extortion, cripples business in Tunapuna. Kidnap Debe businessman found tied to a coconut tree in Couva. Man 50, boy 4, wounded in Pity Valley shooting. 3 men shot dead in separate incidents in East Trinidad. 3 men shot dead in Maraval. Residents caution about their movements. Boy 11 killed in drive-by. A boy, a student who wanted to go to Fatima College will never get the honor and privilege of being in Fatima, of getting licks and being disciplined and playing sport, playing cricket, putting on the yellow and blue, to be involved in a great college because he get a bullet in the head in Trinidad and Tobago under Keith Rowley and Fitzgerald at Elbert Hines. And the Express newspaper, the Express that has been PNM since 2010, writing lie after lie on Kamla Prasad Biswas and the partnership government, promoting people like Asha Javid, Irene Medina and so on, that went in a court and a judge said that they are patently dishonest. Asha Javid was dishonest in the EMBD issue with Sibalak Singh. Hear the opinion of the Sunday Express. In the aftermath of Ezekiel's murder, the cries for something to be done only reveal the paucity of ideas about what should be done. The Trinidad and Tobago National Council of Parent Teachers Association wants immediate and decisive action from the state. The Children's Authority appealed for an end to crime and gun violence. Commissioner of Police Earl Christopher reassured the public again that the police service remains undaunted and relentless in our commitment to tackling gun violence and protecting the lives of citizens. The Express says, all this is too little, too late. Ezekiel could have been alive today if the gangs had been contained over the past and about 2 decades. But Express, you are the newspaper who had Asha Javid writing as your #1 political editor, who wrote lie after lie after lie on live sport and created a situation that cut funding to eliminate the demand or the gangs, the workforce of the gangs, to identify talent, to provide counselors, to give work, to give food, to give a stipend, to have national athletes and heroes, football captain, cricket, boxing and so on, interact, community spirit, spiritual, karate, counseling, psychologists, all in live sport. Your newspaper, let Asha Javid print 18 front pages of lies on live sport about Muslimin gang getting 15 million, lie about a sports day for gangsters with 6 million. The whole budget was 194,000 for 5,000 people, including all children, with food, drink, bouncy castle, DJ, all kind of thing across the board, sports whole day. Lie after lie. And now the PNM comes in on a volley of lies, takes all the resources out of education, sport, culture, pan, across the board, creates a petri dish for crime and criminality to grow. And now you say it's too little, too late. All the people who are dead and dying, all the people who have become victims, all the mothers who are crying, it's because of you too, Express, because you have failed in your duty to promote journalistic integrity. You promote clowns like Asha Javid, who's now, imagine she posts, oh, where's the outrage with the little boy dead? Asha Javid, you are part and parcel of the problem. You have turned journalism into a brothel. That's what you have done. You read sanction clause lying on your back with a small pin chuck in you, and you come in to talk about where's the outrage? Where's the outrage about people like you? And then the Guardian hires you to be their political editor-in-chief when you have a judgment against you, where a judge called you pathological, said you were dishonest, you lacked integrity and professionalism. Asha Javid, man shot dead at KFC after stabbing shooter, and the man, the KFC fellow who killed the fellow in KFC, has been caught. Let me just say this. I watched that video about 10 times, the KFC incident. And to the fellow who ran for 2 weeks, you shouldn't have run. Because he's a bush lawyer, he's no lawyer. But John Larry Williams, please, if this man have no lawyer, please contact that man and go through that footage. Because from what I saw, you were not the aggressor. You walked away. You were the peacemaker. Yes, you will get charged for having an illegal weapon. Of course, that's charged, right? But it appears to me that the other person, the victim from the video, was hounding you, attacking you. You tried to walk away on 2 or 3 occasions. That's just my opinion. I is not no lawyer. But I think you should get a lawyer, because there may be a defense there, a solid defense. Now, whether he had the gun or I ain't know, because it went behind a pillar, who had the gun. If you had the gun, well, you go get a charge. Me ain't saying that you shouldn't have had that gun. All right? But there are certain elements that could provide a defense there. John Larry Williams, if you're listening, or any lawyer, Kristen Williams, anybody, all check out the man and check out the video. Tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. 876 oil spills, chemical release in 8 years in Trinidad and Tobago. No one prosecuted for breaches. Rowley come out there and only said, well, we have about coming back with this nonsense about 300. First small pin say 350 Gulf Stream. It are not 350 Gulf Stream. It are not 300. It only had about 5. And they know the badge or the solo creed. What oil, where it was. Small pin, you went Venezuela to ask Venezuela for help with the cleanup. How much pay the base officials here? How much equipment they send? How much assistance has Venezuela given Tobago and Trinidad or Grenada, now Bonaire, where the oil, where the spill reach? How much help? What you went Venezuela for? Where the oil come from? Was it at Portezuelo in Venezuela? Rowley comes, well, we don't know, and we can't do, we don't know, but all you go ahead now, deal with Rowley. Who is the best friends with Maduro? If private companies are linking to Maduro, how did they make that contact? Who made the contact with Maduro to get contracts, to get bunker, to get oil? Gilbert Peterson, you are the expert in bunkering. Gilbert Peterson of Inez Gate. Rowley's Gilbert Peterson. Give us shed some light. Help the country. Use your expertise as a bunker. Help us understand this, Gilbert Peterson. Shed some light, some experience. Help us. We want to know who poisoned our nation. Help us now, Gilbert. You mean, if you're expert. Look, I coach and I give a little analysis of the football and so on. And let me just say, as we talk about that football, actually, you know what? I'm going and they just hit me. I'm going and organize something to deal with that. Because across the board in every sport, I was just watching my daughter play tennis, and I was watching netballers practice and basketball competition going on there at the courts by Mandela Park, and I was watching volleyball on one side and a little baseball and so on. And I'm looking at all these young athletes, and they're dreaming of greatness. They're dreaming of achieving brilliance with red, white, and black. And unfortunately, the systems, the pathways, the knowledge is not there so that their dreams could come to fruition. In other words, we have our children dreaming, and there's a 0% chance of success. That's not good. A dream, they must have a percentage, some form, some percentage that it could happen. And in order to do that, we have to get pathways. We have to identify talent. We have to educate parents on what needs to be done. Coaches need to understand what sport, how do you get sport specific, how you cross-train, what you do, how you monitor, how you build on each macro cycle, how you do a quadrennial plan if you have Olympic sports and so on, how you prepare for Carifta moving into CCCAN, Central America, into CAC Games, Pan American Games, Commonwealth Games, World Indoor, World Outdoor, World Short Course, into Olympics. How you get there, what are the pathways, whether it's university, how do you become a student athlete, what is necessary, how does diet play into it, how does psychological training and mental development and mental preparation fit in simultaneously with physical preparation. Archie, I go do something. We will do something. We have to be dream catchers. We have to catch the children's dreams and allow them to ferment, allow them to blossom into possible success. You may not always hit your dream goal, but along the way are many other steps that are successful. So Archie, I go do up something with dream catchers to help the children and the athletes and the parents across Trinidad and Tobago, because there's a dearth of education, a dearth of coaching, a dearth of science. To see my footballers go out there with no chance to beat Canada was really sad. Good night.